And thank you so much for joining us on At Issue. My name is H. Wayne Wilson, and for the next half hour, we're going to be talking about school financing. The state of Illinois recently, as a matter of fact, on August the 31st, passed a new school funding formula. And we're going to talk about what it means to both an urban school district and to a rural school district. And let me introduce to you the rural school district representative. He is the superintendent down at the Illini Bluffs Community Unit Schools. He's Roger Alvey. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks, H, for the invitation.
And also joining us is Mick Willis. Mick is the Chief Financial Officer at Peoria Public Schools. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And just a little bit of quick background. Roger is a veteran, may I say, of At Issue. You were here 7 years?
2010.
But you were at Elmwood then.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So welcome back.
Thank you very much.
And you served in finance down in the St. Louis area.
For 28 years, worked in the St. Louis metropolitan area market and did a minor stint in Illinois. Had some background with Illinois school district finance. So after completion with Missouri school districts, I moved to the Peoria area to continue Illinois school finance.
You wanted a challenge.
Absolutely.
Did he get a challenge?
He certainly got the challenge.
And then some.
Let's talk about that challenge. But first of all, before we get into, and it's called Senate Bill 1947. It's the new school state formula, and much, much more. You were at the superintendent's meeting recently, just last week, was it?
Right, superintendent's conference.
And that's annual. So was there a different atmosphere in the conference this year compared to, say, the last 10 years?
I would definitely say so. In fact, our executive director spoke to that at the conference. You could feel it in the room. It's truly been a struggle for the last 8 years. Well, the last time I was here was 2010, and we were talking about this very issue, the difficulty in budgeting and school funding and uncertainty. At least now we think that there is some certainty moving forward, and we have hope that we're on the right path.
Some certainty?
Some certainty, yes.
Okay, we'll talk about that in just a minute. But now, as I mentioned, the bill was passed by the Senate on August the 31st.
Correct.
And that was too late for the initial payments to school districts across Illinois. Has the state made good on those payments?
So far, yes. The legislation passed on August 31st. Typically, school districts receive state aid payments twice per month on the 10th and 20th, starting in August, and that goes through June. So with legislation being passed on August 31st, August 10th payment that we normally would get, obviously we didn't receive. August 20th payment we normally would have gotten, we obviously did not receive. And by the time the state was able to gear up, the third payment actually was due. And so we basically got 3 state aid payments at one time, not long after Labor Day. And so they were able to catch up. And now they are on the regular payment cycle that they've established for state aid, which is 10th and 20th of each month.
But as I understand it, that payment schedule, you really don't know yet exactly what you're going to be getting from the state for the year, the school year, the current school year.
That's correct. The state is still running numbers based upon the new formula. We have some idea on a base funding minimum for what we'll call old money. The formula actually addresses new money that's been injected into the budget. So getting back to what Mick said, we're still missing money from last year, though, in terms of mandated categorical payments. My district is still owed about $130,000 from last year from some MCAT payments.
We've heard a lot in the past about the foundation level of funding. I believe that's $6,119 per student, and you just multiply that times the enrollment. Is foundation level no longer an element of the new state aid formula?
That's correct. When they rewrote the funding mechanism for schools, one of the things that they did is wiped away that $6,100 61.19 per student. They pretty much wiped that away and replaced that with amounts per student that are calculated individually by district across the state to determine what school districts will be funded and what they would get from the state. So it's a lot more complex calculation than it used to be.
But is this more fair? Because a rich district in suburban Chicago might get the 6,119 under the old formula times their enrollment, and they might not, they have a stronger base based on EAV,
Right.
Things of that nature.
Right, so that's referred to as local capacity under the new formula. It is more fair. I mean, there are basically two tenets to this process. One is equity and adequacy. So the intent is to make things more equitable across the state and to have enough money, an adequate amount of money, in order to fully fund schools the way they should be. I'm old enough now as a superintendent to remember back when they were talking about the EFAB recommendation, the Education Funding Advisory Board recommendation, when 6119 is the foundation level, or has been, and they were saying that it should have been closer to 8,600, and that was many years ago. So hopefully the new formula, they'll be able to continue to come up with new money to inject into the formula to provide ongoing revenue for us moving forward.
As I understand it, the state has provided $350 million additional dollars under the new bill.
Correct.
Annually, $350 more dollars each year.
They've approved $350 million for the 2017-2018 school year. When they meet to discuss the 2018-19 budget, they'll have to reauthorize $350 million for that to be in place. So they didn't put an automatic roll forward of that additional $350. They just started it off with $350 million.
But there were suggestions that $350 probably isn't sufficient to meet the educational needs across the state.
Well, I think the intent is to chip away at this. I don't think they're going to be able to come up with the money to provide everything they need to provide to districts across the state all at one time, especially with the pension, which we'll be talking about later, I'm sure, situation. We really didn't address that issue. So I think we will get there in time, and I think there's a real effort in terms of both parties to recognize that something needed to be done with school funding, and they've taken a good first step in that direction.
There are some other elements of Senate Bill 1947 that aren't financially oriented. One is, and I don't know that everything. Let me preface this by asking: have you seen the elements of this legislation? I mean, we're only a month after it was signed.
We as superintendents have been educated on this for about the last year and a half, so we do have familiarity with some of the intricacies of it. We're still learning about it. It is complex. Some videos just came out yesterday from our organization to further educate superintendents moving forward. But yes, we do have some basic knowledge moving forward.
Well, one of them is that there will be less strict requirements for physical education. Have you gotten that deep into the weeds yet?
No, we really haven't had an opportunity to have those conversations at a local level. I would say that in our district, as of now, as long as we're having a surplus budget, which for the first time in 5 years we actually had a small surplus, we're not looking to make additional cuts. Part of the provisions that you're referencing, you get into difficulties with scheduling, especially in a district like mine where you're sharing a PE teacher across 3 buildings during the same day. If you started talking about reducing PE requirements, then you're talking about partial days with teachers, and it just gets very complex in a small district like ours.
Back to the financial aspects of 1947, there is, we've been talking about state money so far, but there's the Corporate Personal Property Replacement Tax, CPPRT.
Right.
And that is not considered that's a local fund, right? Is that considered a local fund?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So during conversations about a new funding formula and Senate Bill 1947's predecessor, Senate Bill 1, when all of the models were run and all the advocacy occurred, there was lots of dialogue about making sure no district loses money and those kinds of things. That all revolved around state aid, and corporate personal property replacement tax was excluded from that conversation because it's not considered state money and not considered to be part of this mix.
Yet the state in the past has taken money from the CPPRT fund for other needs, not all of them education related. They've used it for community
that would
colleges.
be true.
And
Yes.
so if it's local money and they're taking money away, there seems to be a vague definition of
Sure. Yeah.
who can have it. And so what kind of impact does that have on your particular school district?
The corporate personal property replacement tax for our district went down, is projected to go down $3 million for the 2017-18 year compared to what we actually received for 2016-17. So you're talking about right now about $9 million that we'd receive under corporate personal property replacement. Last year we got about $12 million under corporate personal property replacement. So it's a
25% drop.
significant reduction.
And Roger, what about Illini Bluffs?
Well, same percentage across the state, 23.8% reduction. For us, it represents about $325,000. The problem is back in 2010 is when we opened that door. At that time, we started funding regional offices of education because if you remember, we were talking about closing down ROEs at that time. Once that door was opened, as usual in the state of Illinois, money was siphoned off. And so now $300 million has been siphoned off of that fund for things like you had mentioned, community colleges. Department of Revenue actually is taking money out of that fund, and that's where our money comes from, the corporate money comes from. So $325,000 is a tremendous amount of money for a district like ours with a $9 million budget, just as it is for Peoria Public Schools losing $3 million.
Is there fear that that's going to that decline will continue, or is it just an unknown?
The corporate personal property tax money actually is tied to the economy. So we are used to that source going up and swinging from year to year. So my hope is we're on the bottom side in terms of what we can expect from that revenue source, and that it would be my hope that it doesn't go lower. But it does. It is somewhat. It is a somewhat changing amount from year to year.
But I do think if we stop the siphoning, that's going to help not only school districts, park districts, municipalities who all benefit from corporate personal property replacement tax.
And so far, am I correct in saying that the dollars that we're talking about are education dollars? Is that correct?
Yes.
And
well,
we're not talking about, when we talk about the state school funding, we're not talking about, there's transportation in addition to what we've been talking about. There's life safety code in addition to what we've been talking about. Is that correct?
Right.
yes, and corporate personal property replacement tax is mostly education fund for us, but it does cross into other funds, but not nearly as it's not nearly as significant a revenue source as it is in our education fund.
So where do you stand with regard to transportation, with regard to life safety, things of that nature that are outside of the education fund? Separate funds, right?
Well, yes, life safety actually is generated completely through what's called an amendment process, where if you have a need and you can get it approved through the state architect, it will be funded through your local taxpayers through the issuance of bonds. In terms of transportation, that's the one fund I would say where most districts across the state, especially large rural districts, have been hurt. That's where large prorations have taken place, and that's where we are actually still owed money.
Same for Peoria
Same for
Public
us.
Schools.
Yes.
And there is a portion of Senate Bill 1947 that allows for private scholarships for public students to go to private schools. The state has set aside up to $75 million.
Right.
Is this something? Was this a surprise? This is a Bruce Rauner. He wanted this, but
Right.
is this something that's good for public schools?
Well, personally, my perspective is that's $75 million that could have gone to the state aid formula, been added to the $350 million, and that would have helped districts directly even more. And so I'm going to always vote for school districts receiving more monies through the state aid formula, and at least being assured that going through that, we get some sort of benefit. There's that $75 million where it's located right now with that program. We don't know if it. Well, we know it won't benefit us, first of all, but it could hurt us. That money could be a mechanism that winds up siphoning public school students out of our classrooms and into private classrooms. And the new formula is enrollment driven. The fewer students you have, the less money you could potentially get. So that's obviously a concern.
You share that concern?
I do share that concern. From what I have heard from legislators, that was really the keystone to getting it passed. And you had asked the question, was it a surprise to us? Absolutely. We had heard nothing about it leading up to the passage of it, and then when it passed, we were all surprised and wondering exactly what it was and what it was for. But I do agree with Mick in that we're advocates for public school children. We're not advocates for private school children. And that's $75 million that could have potentially been used for educating public school children.
I want to make sure that we get to two other topics that are outside of Senate Bill 1947, pensions and teacher shortages. Let's start with the pension discussion. The state of Illinois provides funding for pension payments for teachers. Could you describe how that works? I mean, there's a certain amount that goes that the teacher puts in, and a certain amount that the state puts in?
Right. So there's about 9.4% that teachers put in for teacher retirement. The state basically matches that through the what they call on behalf payments. The 9.4% portion that's employee paid has occurred consistently over past years. The on behalf payments that represent the match has had challenges, and so you have a system that's been designed around employees making their payments and the matching payments sometimes coming and sometimes not, to a point where there are now concerns about pension costs, what to do with them, where they should go, and the upside or the downside is we potentially as school districts could see more pension costs directed our way, requiring that we find ways to offset that cost somehow.
And to be clear, the local school districts don't pay pension for certificated teachers, but you do for staff. And are you concerned that, with the exception of Chicago, that's a different situation. Are you concerned that the pension costs, at least in part, may be shifted over to you?
Well, it's definitely a concern. I mean, it's been a topic of conversation for the last 4 to 5 years, I would say. Part of the new pension Tier 3, which was approved, has language in it which indicates that any individual in the TRS system that makes more money than what the governor would make for every dollar that they go over the governor's salary would become the responsibility of the local district. I mentioned opening doors earlier. This potentially opens the door for the state to continually lower that threshold. So right now, it doesn't affect a great percentage of people in the state. But eventually, if that threshold is lowered down to the base salary of what teachers make, then effectively what they've done is they've shifted the pension, and they've done it slowly over the course of time. IMRF employees, we've always paid for their pensions through the local levy process. But certified employees, we have no mechanism currently that if they did shift pensions to us, we have no mechanism to pay for that. So you have to find that money in your existing budget, or you have to make cuts to make up for that money that would be shifted.
Does the school funding, the state hasn't lived up to its primary responsibility as defined in the 1970 Constitution. Has the state's lack of financial support put undue pressure on the property tax that you have to levy every year?
It does affect it. If you take, for example, since 2011, our particular district has had payments withheld under prorations in past years to the tune of $23 million. Let's say that we'd received those monies. Right now, in our education fund, we levy the maximum. Operations and maintenance fund, we levy the maximum. All the funds that we have, we levy the maximum. It's possible that it might not have been necessary to levy the maximum in those places had enough state dollars, had the state dollars that we should have gotten, we actually would have gotten. And so there's no question that it has some implication to our local funding and what we ask of taxpayers. It has some impact.
And for Illini Bluffs, Roger?
Oh, it definitely has had an impact. When you are deficit spending, eventually you will exhaust your reserves. And if the money is not flowing from the state, the only option you have is to borrow money through the issuance of bonds. And depending on how you structure those bonds, it definitely has an effect on the tax rate.
Let's talk about teacher shortage. This is outside the budget discussion. Is it, from what I read, it looks like it's more and more difficult for you as a superintendent to find qualified, certificated teachers, at least in some categories. How severe is that problem, and where's it going in the future?
Well, we've been hearing for the last several years about the looming teacher shortage. I would say it's no longer looming, it's here. As an example, in my district, we had a math vacancy and we had 0 applicants for that position. We had a special education in our elementary position, same situation, 0 applicants for that position. For years, there have been what are called teacher shortage areas that are identified by the state. And that typically would have been special education, foreign language, some math and science. The teacher shortage list now that they published, I think it was 3 or 4 months ago, has nearly every subject listed, including elementary, which forever there was a surplus of elementary teachers. Teacher prep programs are down 75% across the state.
At universities?
At universities,
okay.
Right. We're losing teachers across state lines. I just went to a conference talking to some superintendents from Indiana and Iowa and Ohio, and they all mentioned Illinois teachers having vacated the state and going to what they consider to be greener pastures.
Same problem for Peoria Public Schools?
Yes. We have had a number of challenges recruiting teachers, special education area, PE, fine arts, just a number of positions. It's, we recruit as best we can, but it's challenging because the supply is not there.
And real quickly, Roger, what's the solution to that? I mean, right now you have to have a certificate to teach, at least in most courses.
Well, I think part of the solution is they've made it extremely difficult to become a teacher. Teacher prep programs are a lot different than they were when I first started teaching. So they're eventually going to have to ease some requirements in that regard.
Okay, and with that, we have run out of time. Thank you so much for the discussion. Thank you to Roger Alvey, who's the superintendent at Illini Bluffs Community Unit Schools.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you to Mick Willis, who is the Chief Financial Officer at Peoria Public Schools.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate the conversation. And next time on that issue, we'll be talking about the budget again, but this time it'll be the Peoria City budget with Mayor Jim Ardis and City Manager Patrick Urich. Join us then on the next At Issue.